Good evening and welcome to the FiTT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
And definitely we are the FiTT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. How are you doing, Thomas Doty, in this
I am
world?
happy to be alive, happy to be here, brother.
That's saying a lot because a lot of people ain't happy. But the key to being happy is guess what, Doty? Being happy. Don't let it, don't let it fool you,
Don't make
man.
it too complicated, huh?
No, it ain't that complicated. Excuse me. So, look, y'all, we here. We try to provide information. One of the first things I must let you know, give a full disclosure, we are not financial advisors. We are not fiduciary. We don't have any fiduciary responsibility. But we are financial educators who try to provide you with information that can help you. But any specific information that if you're looking for your because everybody's portfolio is no one size fit all, and there's some things that are general that may apply. But if you're looking for specific information about your particular situation, please seek advice from a qualified financial advisor, or a CPA, or a certified financial planner. That definitely will help. Also, we like for you to click on the like button and the heart button because that gives us more traction and it exposes us to more people. That's just how Facebook works. And if you on Facebook Live, share. And if you on YouTube, um, subscribe. And have other people subscribe because we hope more people will check us out. And please place comments in the comments box because actually, that's where you get even more traction and more exposure, the more comments you put in there. And if it's not just comments, but if you have some questions or opinions on what we're talking about, or if there's some other subjects you'd like to discuss with us on another day, but let us know about them, put them in the comment box. Or is there something that came across you dealing with finance, personal money management, and you want a quick question? If it's not too far off of what we're talking about, we will address it. But if it is something that needs more attention, we would actually address it at another time. But we try to, between me and Dope, if we don't know it, we know somebody that does. But between us, we can answer a lot of questions when it comes to general things about personal money management. So please keep that in mind. So today is September the 18th. Man, time is going on, man. We almost in 2026. And it is so good to be before you all because, like I say, we provide information that you can use and apply in your everyday life. We don't try to get too technical or into technical analysis and things like that, but we do try to provide you with, just information that is practical. And you only know what you know. We understand that. One other disclaimer I want to give: we do get a lot of our information from Vanguard, Fidelity, Kiplinger, Smart News, and everywhere. Any information that is really good information, viable, we actually use it. So full disclosure that we do that, and we do not charge. We do not have sponsors, and we do not charge fees to people because we do not want to compromise the information. We want to provide you with information, good, solid information that we have vetted and we trust. So that's a little bit of our background information about the show. And we here every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Are we still daylight time? Yeah, we still in daylight savings time. We haven't went
I
to.
think to the end of November, right?
Yeah. I think. Yeah. No, I thought
Yeah,
it was.
first week of November. I'm sorry.
Right. It's usually after Halloween. So yeah, we just want to let people, because we have people all around the country, but in particular, we have people all around the world, especially my friends where I actually played in England and Scotland. There's quite a few people. So we're thankful for people like that. I don't. A few people has come to me and said we have a lot of new people. Total viewers, we around about 500 people, not all at one time, but we have over 500 followers, and a lot of them are new. Now, the average age wall on our show is 50 and over, but we have all ages watching. It's just that the majority is 50 and over. So that's people who are either retired or thinking about retiring. So this information is we try to provide information on all levels, and that's pretty tough to do. But we try to reach everybody where they are, and especially I really have a special interest though in people who are retired because for some reason they think it's over or they missed the boat in investing. And you're living longer. At least they say men 86, women 88. From the old tables used to be like 68 and 70 for women, 68 for men. So no,
Hey, Bob,
yes.
I hope when we get that old, they move it up again.
Well, no, though, they showed a statistic with the actuary tables that I think they changed the actuary tables around 2004. That used to be, like I say, 68 and 70, and they changed that all, the insurance companies and everybody use actuary tables that people use. But they say if you live to be 50, there's a 50-50 chance that you'll live to be 100 now. And you remember I say this statement before, though, the longer you live, you get to live. And especially with technologies, the longer you live, you got something, 9 times out of 10, they're going to find a cure for it. But though, a lot of people don't know you. A lot of people don't know me. A lot of my friends are on here do know me, but they really don't know my background and they don't know your background. So they wanted me to spend a little time and give a background of me and you, especially our financial background. But I have 3 kids and I'm married, so let everybody know that. And the thing that me and Dote have in common, we both went to Penn State University together, and that's where we became friends. And then we were on the basketball team. And then, in addition, Dope was alpha, and he pledged me, and I became an alpha. So we're alpha men. We played basketball, and we went to the great Pennsylvania State University, and that's where we meet and our things come together. But then I went on to play professional basketball in Europe for 5 years, and Dope went on into the financial world because Dope was your degree in accounting, Dope, if I'm right?
My undergrad was accounting, yeah.
Yeah, undergrad was accounting, but Dope will let you know a little bit about himself. So I went and I transferred to Texas A&I, which is now Texas A&M University. And I went 2 years, and that's where I left and went overseas. But I did not finish my degree because an agent, it was my senior year, but because I transferred, I still needed more credits. But an agent picked me up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that's how I ended up playing outside of London in Hempstead, England, 40 miles outside of London for 2 years. And then I went to Falkirk, Scotland, which is dead in the middle of Glasgow, Scotland, and Edinburgh, 40 minutes, 30 minutes one way to Glasgow, 30 minutes to Edinburgh the other way. And I did 3 years there. So when I came out, I played 1 year and had a contract dispute, had a wonderful year, and ended up came back and I had 36 credits, man. I had 36 credits. That's right, yeah, I took 16 credits a semester to graduate and get my degree from the University of the District of Columbia in sociology, anthropology. I got a double degree. And then the team came back and hired me again. And then I played 4 straight years. So I didn't play 5 straight years. I had a break for 1 year, which the best thing I ever did was get my sheepskin. And I went there and played for a year. Then my body clock expired. And I came back home and a financial firm wanted to send me to school for my Series 7, which is a stockbroker's license, which was it was only 11,000 stockbrokers in 1985 in America. And it's a very difficult exam. And like Dope took a very difficult exam, even more difficult, a CPA. And that's how I got my financial background. Once I got that document, that certification, that opened me up. And then I ended up being a stockbroker and investment advisor for the Calvary Group for 2 years. And then the FDIC came calling, and I went and was with the FDIC. It was liquidating banks. I was there at the savings and loan crisis in the 80s. I was the only black guy, though, walking into banks, closing them, being the lead, and I'd be important, and I'd walk in, and they, banks used to close at 2 o'clock around the country, and I'd walk in, we'll come in right at closing, and I would come in, and they go, oh, you must play for the Portland Trailblazers. And I'm like, no, on behalf of the Federal Savings Loan Insurance Corporation, you've been paid some receivership. So I did that, and I worked for the FDIC because we merged into the FDIC for 30 years. And I became a senior financial management analyst, and I was doing the quarterly and monthly financials for the FDIC. So that's my little background that everybody know because the people like, where's all this coming from? But don't give a little brief about your background.
Well, but before I do, did you have anybody get hostile on you when you would go into a bank?
Yes, I did, though. Yes, I did. There was one old man in Oregon, right? And he comes in and they say, "Hey, Robert, can you come?" He was very upset, irate. He had $500,000 in the bank, and he thought, that he might have been losing his money, but he actually had it structured right. Because you get 100,000 for an individual account, another 100,000 for a joint account, then you can get as many trust accounts if you want for your wife, one for your wife, and if you got 3 kids, so that's another 400,000. So he was covered. So he was very irate, and so they asked me, though. So I go, and he's standing in the lobby with a 6 shooter on. This is in Oregon, man, and he doesn't have a right hand. And I'm like, oh man. So I'm like, wait a minute. Do I go up to him and stick my hand out and shake, but they don't have a hand? Is that going to be insult?
Only you would think of that.
I'm sure, though, because I could think. So I said, I'm going to let him make the move, man. How come I walk up to the guy and he sticks his nub, man, and I'm shaking his nub. And all I could think was y'all laughing at me shaking his nub with no hand. So, but he was irate. He's like, this is un-American. And I told him, I said, sir, your money is, as good as gold. It's backed by the good faith and credit of the United States government. That's the security you get. You know what he told me? Son, I said, it's good. It's 100% good as gold. He said, can a woman be almost pregnant? I said, no. Well, I don't believe that shit. I want my goddamn money. So I've run into many situations, though, and had to stand down people. But yeah, there's been some crazy situations.
Interesting. It had to be an interesting career. Yeah, I came out of Penn State with an accounting degree and went to work for a manufacturing company called PPG Industries, which at the time they had glass coatings, chemicals, and they were just now becoming an international company, acquiring businesses overseas. So I jumped into the controller training program and started off in Atlanta, Georgia, learning the whole accounting system and cost accounting and all that kind of stuff. And ended up, getting promoted through several jobs. In the meantime, I got my MBA at the University of Pittsburgh when I relocated to Pittsburgh. And after I left Pittsburgh, I ended up going to Columbus, Ohio, and wasn't nothing else to do in Columbus, Ohio, but study for my CPA exam. So then I passed the CPA exam and spent a few years there. Then I ended up in Milwaukee, and that's where I started teaching school. Taught at a little school called Lakeland College. I got transferred again back to Pittsburgh. Spent a little more time there. Got transferred back to Milwaukee. Got transferred back to Pittsburgh. Got transferred to Detroit. Then back to Pittsburgh. Had a lot of different jobs, a lot of different experiences. Really learned a lot about how to take care of money, budgeting, financial analysis. Worked in all types of accounts payable, billing, cost accounting analysis. Got involved in some acquisitions and that kind of work. And luckily, because I did have a background in accounting, I started investing early and saved a bunch of money through my company savings plan because they were matching up to 6%. And I've always been a saver, learned that from my mom, who never had a lot of money, but she did teach me some principles about paying your bills. And the one thing she said that I never forget is money don't spoil. And so that kind of stuck in my head, which means you don't have to spend it. You can save it. It will not spoil. And so started investing early, And I won't say I did any better than anybody else, but as me and Bob always talk about, if you invest for a long time, chances are you will save a lot of money, because we always talk about the S&P index averages around 11%, and my company stock did extremely well. If you wonder why cars don't rust anymore, it was because of a product that my company made. Uh, it's a paint coating that they put on through a process called electrodeposition. And so for a long time, we were the only people who had that technology. So we basically touched just about every car made in the not in the United States, in the world. And so our stock was just tremendous. So I did real well there. Started investing in some other things and did okay. And Bob and I we always start talking after we both retired, and just kind of bemoaned the fact that a lot of people don't invest or are afraid to invest. And my kids, I have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, all college graduates who are all doing well. But my youngest boy was telling me none of his friends knew a lot about investing. They knew from having lived with me. And whenever they would start a job, I would sit down and teach them how to save as much as you can, put a lot of money away, and which options to pick in your savings plan. And those little things really make a difference in the long term. So we decided we would try to do something to just provide some financial literacy to people. As Bob mentioned, I don't think you did today, but we aren't trying to sell anything. We just do this, one, because we enjoy talking about money, and just trying to share some knowledge and use some of the things that we've used to be successful, and pass some of those things on, and hopefully add a little bit of wealth to your pockets. And so that's a little bit about my background.
And dope. So PBG was
Hmm.
that a Fortune 500 company?
Fortune 200, yeah.
Fortune 2, I knew it was up there. And you also were running one of the accounting departments. Is that correct?
When I was at I was a controller for two different businesses, and I had global responsibility. Did a lot of overseas travel.
Like, what are some of the countries you had to go to?
Oh man, China, Germany, Paris, French. French. We had a shared service center in the Czech Republic, so I spent a lot of time there. We had a shared service center for Asia in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Went to Australia several times. Went to South America a bunch. Never made it to New Zealand. I always wanted to go there, but never made it.
What about
Spent a lot of
Holland?
time, huh?
What about Holland?
Yeah, we spent a lot of time. One of the companies we bought had their headquarters was in the Netherlands, so had to go there a bunch. Spent a lot of time in London because we had a big acquisition in London. I was going there for a time, like a week, a month, to help with the integration. So I got to see a lot, do a lot, got a lot of experience, and had a very rewarding career.
So Modestine, she remembers me well. She put in here, wearing your bow tie. So I wore only bow ties when we're tied and self tie. I don't wear the clip on. Real man don't wear no clip on. So I wear these self tying bow ties, right? So I was in Alabama, right? And went to this food place, and I don't eat pork, right? And I asked, they had these ribs. I said, are they beef ribs? They said, yeah, they beef ribs, right? Man, these things are big, look like Fred Flintstone ribs, right? Dope.
Tyrannosaurus ribs, huh?
Yeah. I got my bow tie on, my suit. I'm eating, man. I'm tearing this bone up. The manager comes up to me, though. Excuse me, sir. I'm like, yeah. Hate to disturb you, but we got a problem. I'm like, what's the problem? He said, we don't sell beef ribs here. And I looked in the kitchen, and the chef was in the window like this looking. And I think because I had the bow tie on, they thought I was a Muslim. And they're like, we going to get this boy. He going to be eating
Oh
some
my
pork.
gosh.
I swear, though, I'm not lying. But mostly, thanks for bringing it up. But yeah. So anyway, just wanted to share that with everybody. If you just stop being. Yeah, Mostly said, I'm still working on getting my great nieces and nephews to save and stop being wasteful. No, that's good. Mostly
Yeah,
said
you got to catch them early. Like if you can get them to do that first paycheck where the savings comes out of that, and then you live on what's left. Because once once you get that first paycheck and you start living, that's how much money you have in your mind. And so when you save, you're taking out of your money. But if you do it soon as you start, then you only got what's left, and you kind of put it out of sight, out of mind.
and that's what people don't got it backwards. They spend and what's left they save instead of
Mhm.
save and what's left they then spend.
That's
You know.
right.
So, all right, y'all. We just want to give y'all a background because few people wanted to know. Even people I know, they really didn't even know this about me, though. That the financial side, especially when I do the entertainment shows at the Bowie Town Center and be up there joking, they're like, "Oh, you know finances," and
Yeah,
as you can see,
you should have been a TV personality, really.
but I would have been making jokes about money then. Because you know my famous investment, I used to tell people the most best investment they can make though. I said, you know how you can double your money? Fold it and put it in your pocket. So with that though, for people that are coming on new, we always start the top of the show with our leader in the stock market update,
I
Thomas Doty.
don't know about leader, but
I mean, at least in expressing it, what's going on with it.
you know, markets continue to tick ahead. Again, I'm still extremely nervous. As everybody knows, the Fed did cut the federal funds rate by 25%. People were hoping for a half a point cut, but it didn't happen. The positive is they did kind of hint that there would be more cuts coming in a couple months, and it's because the job market is extremely slow. A lot of layoffs. I'm sure everybody's reading about that, and so the cut was kind of expected, and the market had
How
a
much did they cut it though?
quarter point,
Okay, okay.
but they hinted that there would be more, and but the market continues to set records. It's just about every day it goes up. It sets a new record. S&P is up almost 1%. Nasdaq is up almost 2%, and that tends to happen when interest rates are cut because Nasdaqs are tend to be more technical and stocks that are looking to do something in the future, and especially with all the money being spent on AI, interest rates coming down makes borrowing cheaper and should make people spend a lot more money. But we'll see if that happens. Microsoft had a good week. It jumped 7 points. Apple's up 8. They also had a decent week. Nvidia had been up a little more, took kind of a hit because the Chinese they're playing with there's a lot of back and forth going on between our country and their country regarding Nvidia selling things in China. And so we'll see how that shakes out if they're going to indeed be able to sell some things. Google's been on a roll lately. If you look back, look over in the far right column, you can see year to date, Google's up 33%. It was 190 at the end of December. It's up to 252. Pfizer continues to basically do nothing. They kind of took a little hit because of the current administration's de-emphasis on vaccines, and so that kind of hit Pfizer a little bit. Palantir had a nice week. It jumped almost 8%, and as you can see, it's up 133% year to date. They got a big deal in the UK to work with their AI and defense organization, and so I think that was over $1 billion committed in business. United Healthcare, I think there was some profit taking here because they announced earnings. They did beat in revenue and bottom line. I don't think they beat as much as the analysts expected. So they dropped about 5% this week. I still believe in this stock. This is their market share. They have 22% of the healthcare market share. And they also have a health services organization that sells pretty much everything. And a couple analysts have upgraded this stock. So I'm going to stick with it and just see how it does. But I'm still bullish on United Healthcare. So now, all in all, a pretty good week. And the I usually tell you guys I got a Roth IRA the last couple of years, and year before last I put it in uh, Bitcoin. Was it gold? No, gold. And this last year, or early this, last year's stock return, or in 2024, I put that in Bitcoin, and that has almost doubled in value. Those two things are going really well. And we talk about Bitcoin. We say that's not an investment for everybody because it's a little bit shaky, very volatile. And the same with gold. And Bob's going to talk about some crypto and gold in a minute. But it just wanted to mention, as far as gold, it should have a place in everybody's portfolio just because it's where people go to or invest in when times are uncertain, because gold is gold. It is what it is, right? The only thing that changes is in how people perceive it. And so people like to get safe assets when things get shaky. And so a lot of people are investing in gold. The price of gold has gone up tremendously in the past 12 months. And that's because there's so much uncertainty and wars going on and inflation. There's a lot of things happening right now that's causing the gold price to go up. But again, that's another one of those things that's not for everybody because of its volatility, but it should have a part in your portfolio just because everything doesn't go up and down at the same time. Different assets all react differently. Blue chips react different than mid caps, and gold reacts differently than bonds, and bonds react differently than blue chip stocks. So we always talk about diversifying, and you should have a little bit of money in a lot of different things just to spread your risk. We always talk about not putting all your eggs in one basket. So that's pretty much where we are. Gold continues to roll, and I hope it continues to go up.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about gold right quick in a minute, though. But I just want to get people to understand about the Federal Reserve when they lower rates or increase rates. Those are not directly the rates that we see. Those are the rates that banks lend to each other, and then it eventually makes it to us. But it's really how they lend to each other. That's how they make money. But it eventually comes down and affects, like mortgages and car loans and personal loans and savings accounts. Because it's the interesting thing, when the interest rates go down, it helps you on car loans and mortgages. But in the bank on high yield savings accounts, you actually get lower rates. But just want to give you that inverted effect that goes on with the Federal Reserve. And gold is up though. It was up higher, man. It was up to almost like 37, 3800
Yeah,
dollars an ounce. It's down now to 3600 an ounce
I'm gonna look
because
at it while you talk. I'm gonna look it up just to
yeah,
see how it's done.
yeah, it's about 3600 right now an ounce, and silver is down. Silver got up to 46 an ounce, and now it's about 42. But those are milestones for silver and gold. And the thing about gold and silver, like you said, other than okay, everybody know gold, and you got jewelry and all that, but gold has a use. That's the difference between cryptocurrency and commodities like gold and silver. They do have what they call a use. Like gold is in many of machines, believe it or not, and diamonds are too in a lot of major humongous machines like cutting stuff. Diamonds is important, and silver. You know why they ask you to turn in your cell phone? Because and you think it's no cell phone has no value. it's silver in all cell phones because that's what make up the mechanisms, the semiconductors. So that's why silver and gold sort of has, value more than cryptocurrency because it has a usage. But just a little background on
Hey, Bob, take a guess on what goes up year to date.
about what maybe what's that? It got to be about at least 50%.
Yeah, time's on. Yes, it's up 1,000% year to
What?
date. Yeah.
Whoa!
Oh
Whoa!
no, I'm sorry. Excuse me. That is wrong. It's it is actually no, you're about 40%.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, I'm
that
sorry.
sounds better.
It's
That
up
sounds
$1,000.
right. Thousand.
I read the number wrong. It was 2638. I'm sorry, 2658 at the end of last year, and it's now 3671.
There you go. There you
It's
go.
crazy,
That's a hell of a
crazy.
return, man.
Yeah, probably more like 45%. I think
Yeah.
my
Okay.
math wasn't good.
Okay. I thought it was somewhere in there, but it is up $1,000 an ounce. That's amazing. So that's and y'all know y'all who's been on this show regularly. Me and Dote always talk about diversification of having a diversified portfolio. And if you can, that's why it's good to have some of this and some of that. You know what I mean? Because, it all works. Like you say, it's almost like a inverted seesaw. When stocks are up, bonds are down. When stocks are down, bonds are up. Same thing that what happens with gold and other commodities. So,
And,
um,
and, and one more thing, Bob, on my chart, if you look each week, something different is the big riser.
right.
Everything but Pfizer. Pfizer is never the big riser. But if you look at the mix of stocks I have in that portfolio, every week one of them has some good news. And so if you pick a bunch of good companies, it's not going to be good news every week. But if you got a good mix of stocks, something's going to be good. Okay. And that's how you spread your risk. And that's how you cause your total portfolio to grow by having some winners in that bunch, but different dynamics cause different things to go up.
Yeah. So let's talk about cryptocurrency because we believe in cryptocurrency, but we believe, like everything else, it has a place and it's not for everybody. But we track the cryptocurrency because, this is the economy and the world we live in today. And the whole thing about cryptocurrency was just supposed to increase the peer-to-peer interactions, supposed to be cutting the middleman out, and you just don't have to worry about a Visa or Bank of America, who is the middle person to approve that you have good credit or that you have money in the bank to make that purchase. That's all cryptocurrency is supposed to be about, and they're trying to make it have usage, but it hasn't picked up yet. And the first one in 2006 was Bitcoin. Now the total daggone crypto market is like 4 trillion, and it's up about 96 billion, 2%. But Bitcoin is still the number one cryptocurrency at $116.82. That's up from last week, $1,477. And that's only 1% because the Bitcoin is valued at 116,000 and some change. Then you got Ethereum, which is smart contract. That's up 3%. That's up $116. And Ripple used to be out of the top 10, but Ripple moved up. And Ripple, you hear a lot about XRP, which is also called Ripple, which is a stable coin, right? And because the stable coin is supposed to be back every XRP cryptocurrency is supposed to be backed by a dollar, but that's not fully true. Sometimes the dollar, sometimes it's assets, but it gives a little bit more, supposed to give a little bit more value than the other cryptocurrencies, which are not backed by anything but consumer sentiment. And then you got Tether, which is U.S., is tied to the dollar. Binance has been really rolling, man. I remember with Binance, I was looking at Binance and it was $80, man. Like before the pandemic, it's all the way up to $981, and that's that's major, man. $78 up 9%. Then Solana. So I like to tell people they got a lot of these meme coins, MEME, which are what do they call them, baseball cards and stuff like that, and uh, parts of videos now. They memes, like O.J. Simpson running touchdowns. They have cryptocurrency for that. That's backed by those kind of things. And they meme coins. Beware of those meme coins because you want to talk about, don't hold value. But like we say, only invest in what you are willing to lose when you start talking about cryptocurrency. It's not for everybody.
Hmm.
So, Doe, our topic today. Last week we talked about cash. Making your cash work for you. Basically, I think what the term was make your cash work, and I hope that was useful for people. I really do. Wait, we got a question here from Brian. How can how can you tell what is a good crypto investment?
Well, that's one of those things you really can't because it's so volatile. But typically, you stick with the larger ones. Those are the ones that have a lot of momentum. And some of the small ones, 'cause how many cryptos are there, Bob? There are thousands of them, aren't there?
Well, there are over 45,000
Yeah, so
crypto,
it's
but it's
probably
only 9,000 that are active.
okay. And of those 9,000, Bob always highlights the bigger ones. And Bitcoin is the one I jumped in. I had Ethereum for a while, but I didn't have much, and I jumped out of that. And I'm just kind of sticking with Bitcoin because that seems to be the one that's getting all the traction, and everybody seems to be running behind. That doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, but that's one of those. We talk about not following the herd, but that's one where I did follow the herd and invested in Bitcoin. And my little, uh, I think I put about 4 or 5 thousand bucks in. It went up by a factor of five. It's going crazy, and I don't know if I'll put any more in. I'm going to put when I do my Roth for 2025. I'm gonna pick another, let's call it alternative investment, and I may end up just splitting it between Bitcoin and gold, but I'll probably pick something a little different to throw that into. But I
Yeah.
would just say stick with the bigger ones, the larger ones. Those are the
The
ones
top 10.
that have, yeah, that have support. The other ones are very volatile, and very speculative.
Another question that Brian has. So gold and silver coins is a good investment. Now, Brian, go ahead, though. Do you want to? You
No,
want to say?
I'll start, and you can jump in because you have some. But and I think Bob's mentioned this before. The thing about having those items, when it's time to sell, you have to find somebody to buy those. You have to work through a broker, and you're kind of at their mercy as far as their markups and the price you get. It will not be the spot price. It'll be the price that they're willing to take for that particular item. And so my gold investment was in a gold fidelity fund. And obviously you can buy and actually an ETF, which you can actually buy and sell, and you don't have to worry about going through a broker. And the other issue with buying coins is securing them. If you have them in your house, then you have to have a safe, or be worried about somebody stealing them. You'll probably have to get a separate insurance. But I'm not sure insurance. I know they don't cover cash, but they probably would cover gold. But you'd probably have to get a rider on your insurance, or you'd have to get a safety deposit box to put them in. And so I just think they're a little awkward to own when you can buy an ETF that identically tracks those particular commodities: gold, silver, platinum, whatever.
And you think about they're more liquid too. You could exchange them anytime in the day. If it's a fund, the ETF, but holding physical, you have to find a place that you can transfer it for cash it in, and then they're going to negotiate. Like Doe said, it's about 3,600 now an ounce, but you go to a asset strategy place, and they'll be probably trying to barter you for cashing in, because where else you going to cash it in, right? They got you,
That's, I just worry about like Facebook. You got to make sure you taking your goals someplace to somebody that you don't know. You know,
right?
I'd be worried.
I'm not worried as long as they give me what I want. No,
No, I mean, if you got somebody who wasn't legit and
right?
you end up getting jacked, you know?
Yeah, and and this is the other little secret about physical gold though that I learned. Most people are, get into owning a gold bar because they sell gold bars at Costco now. But
Oh
the
yeah,
only
and they can't keep them.
right, and they
They
sell,
can't keep them.
but
And
the yeah,
I yeah, I got Costco tattooed on my chest because I'm a diehard Costco fan. My kids used to say I have Costco addictive behavior because everything I buy, I buy from Costco.
well they
But
sell gold bars, and a lot of
yeah, and
people
they
like
as soon as they announce them, they're sold out that
yeah,
quick.
and people get into the fantasy of like, oh, I'm owning a gold bar, but the only issue with that though is if you need some money, you have to cash in the whole gold bar. So what I learned was I purchased from the asset place 4 coins, gold coins that total. I have 4 gold coins that total an ounce. So if
Hmm.
I just want to sell one of the coins, so to get a couple of $100, or sell another coin, or sell 2 coins, or sell three, you won't have to sell the whole bar. That's if you physically hold it. It makes sense to buy, the coins, and that way you don't have to, cash in the whole bar if you just need $1,000 here or there. But just a little thing that most people don't know about though.
Right.
So, though, let's get into our show today. And our show today is about quotes for investors to live by. And basically, actually, they are Warren Buffett quotes to live by, for investors to live by. And why is that? Why is that important, though? The Warren Buffett.
I guess because he's such a genius, and what he did isn't. We always talk about you don't have to be this nerdly financial analyst to make a lot of money. He just uses a lot of common sense concepts. That's kind of some of the things we're gonna share with you. But he transformed Berkshire Hathaway from a struggling textile firm to a large conglomerate and investment vehicle. And he owns a lot of U.S. company stocks. The total market cap of Berkshire Hathaway is about $1 trillion. And in equity, it holds a lot of big U.S. firms. Apple, that's one of his bigger holdings. American Express, Coca-Cola, Bank of America, Chevron. Those are worth about 250 billion. So if you subtract his cash and cash equivalents of about 350 billion, and that means the core operations contribution to their market value comes to about 600 billion. And that's a rough way of looking at it, but it goes to the point of Buffett being a master capital allocator. The company's market value reflects more than 600 billion in operating businesses, 250 billion in equities, and another 350 billion in cash.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that says a lot. And this is the thing about the bottom line. Over the past 6 decades, Buffett, through acquisitions, investments, and opportunity ventures, did something that's unlikely to be ever repeated. He essentially doubled his performance better than the broader market, and he just he doesn't take like wow risks. Like he takes like stuff that makes sense that people need. Like since 1965, Berkshire stock has generated a compound annual return about 20%. Now the S&P is averaging about what 10%.
10, 11,
So
somewhere in there, yeah.
yeah, so so what that meant for anyone lucky enough to get into the ground floor with Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway. If you invested $1,000 in 1965, though, this is incredible to me. It would be worth. Is that right? No. Oh, damn, that's crazy.
65.
33 million. It'll be worth
Okay, let me
33 million.
do the math real quick. That's 35 and 25. What is that? That's 60.
Right.
So divided by just doubling every 3 years, a little
Wow.
over every 3 years at 20%.
Right.
And so
That's
you do,
$33 million. And
yeah.
in the Standard and Poor's, if you had invested $1 back in '65, it'll be only worth $336,000. So, I mean, Warren Buffett knows something, but we just want to share some of his quotes today and discuss them because it's pretty cool. So don't you start it off.
Yeah, and the first one's not a quote, but it's just a statement of only in America this has happened. He could not achieve these results in any other place but America. And he did it with a lot of American firms and just the way our markets work. And it probably wouldn't happen anywhere else in the world other than America. So Uncle Sam really did good by Mr. Buffett.
And
Now we'll start with the quotes.
yes, so so dope. You know who else was saying only in America?
Who?
That was Don King's major statement.
Oh, not that. Yeah, now that you say that, I do remember him saying that.
Remember he said only in America. God bless America. Before we go further though, before I forget, let's answer this question about Brian. How do you feel about RITs, real
Real estate
estate
investment
investment
trust.
trusts? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm very bullish on those, and have looked into them personally. And again, that's another investment. That's something else I might do with my Roth. That's another alternative investment that's not in the mainstream. But if you think about real estate values have gone up consistently and have done very, very well. Just make sure you get one that's legit and that you understand the background of what it's doing and where it's investing and what kind of real estate it's going to hold. But I'm definitely pro RITs, and that's one of my options for where I would put my Roth this year.
and RITs is almost like a mutual fund just with real estate.
Exactly.
But in the Reagan was it the Reagan days? Yeah, the Reagan days, RITs were really cool and attractive because Reagan they changed the tax laws under Reagan, but with
Hmm.
RITs one of the because it has the accumulation of the profits from the real estate, then it has the advantage of them selling the properties at a certain time. You should get that two things, but the third thing was the tax incentives that RITs have. They used to be off the chain. That was the greatest thing. But then, they changed the tax law. I don't know where they stand now on the tax, but
But
they
but it's a good way to be in real estate without being a landowner,
right,
being
right,
a
right,
homeowner, and
right.
dealing with crazy
Yeah,
tenants.
tenants and stuff like that. But we had RITs, but it used to be so great because they had the best tax advantages than any other thing. No, I want to talk about one of the quotes that um, Warren Buffett talked about, and it was, you know, he said, admit mistakes. He said, during the 2019-2023 period, I have used the words mistake or error 16 times in my letters to you. Many other huge companies have never used either word over that span. Now, I know many of you have made mistakes before and regretted making those mistakes, right? But I once saw this thing dope that said, if you can't make a mistake, you can't make anything. And and I know a lot of people sometimes get burned or made a mistake and then they don't want to move or they stand on the sidelines. But I think that little comment is really big because a lot of people are afraid to take that step out there, especially once they've gotten burned and make a mistake. But I like that statement.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think what else he's saying in that comment is if you make a mistake, admit it and move on. Don't not get out of it because you don't want to admit you made a mistake. So admit your mistake and move on. The next one is cost matters. Performances come and go, but fees never falter. And there's a couple of different aspects of that. That's fees on buying and selling, that's fees in mutual funds, that's fees that you pay a financial advisor. There's a bunch of different ways to look at that. And so make sure you are diligent in what you buy and what you're paying in fees, because that can really eat up a lot of your earnings if you're overpaying in fees.
The next one has to deal about seizing opportunities. I like this one though. Every decade or so, dark clouds will fill the economic skies, and they will briefly rain gold. When downpours of that sort occur, it's imperative that you rush outdoors carrying wash tubs and not teaspoons.
I do like that one.
Yeah, I really like that. Cause though, how many times, and just on this show, because when we tell you about our stocks and different investments, we're not trying to steer you to either one either way because we don't make no money either way. But how many opportunities have you missed? I mean, or not, or passed up just because you were afraid or because somebody gave you some misinformation. But I like that comment though. He said, "Go outdoors with carrying wash buckets instead of teaspoons."
Yeah, the next one is avoid the herd. And the background of that is if investors insist on trying to time their participation in equities, they should try to be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy only when others are fearful. And what
Say,
he's
wait a minute,
saying by
say that
that,
again, though.
it says if you're trying to time your participation in equities, if you want to decide when to go in, what he's saying is when everybody's being greedy, that's when you should be fearful. In other words, when the market's going up like crazy and everybody's buying, that's when you ought to be worried. That's where I am right now. And when everybody's selling and everybody's afraid, that's the time for you to be greedy. Okay? And if you think about it, that's as simple as not buying when stocks are high, when everybody's buying and stocks are going up, but buying when stocks are low, when everything's going down and stock prices are low. Because we talk about the average S&P being 10%. Now, within that 10%, there's huge ups, huge downs, but the average is 10%. So two things, if you're buying consistently, you're going to even that out. And also, if you're buying low, you're going to do quite well. That's what he's saying there.
How about this one, though? Prepare for difficult times. You only find out who's swimming naked when the tide goes out. I love that. Because there's a lot of people faking it to make it, right? A
Mhm.
lot of people who driving big cars and living in efficiency, right? But to each his own. But this, though, comes to the part. But what does prepare for difficult times really mean? Because these are some difficult times, and uncertainty is so high in the economy, in the country, but especially with the economy. But what does that mean? Prepare for difficult times. We talk about it all the time. One of the most things you need to prepare is having a budget. I just did a young lady who was in her 30s, and she never did a budget before, though. She never did a budget, and she was spending $300 a month on clothes. And she wasn't even making that much money as a salary. And, but she never did a budget. And you'd be surprised how many people don't. But that's how you prepare for difficult times. So you know where your money is, where it's coming in, and where it's going. The other thing is, preparing for difficult times, you got to have an emergency fund. You got to put some money aside just in case, the car break down, the water heater bursts, things like that helps you. Because, no one can anticipate how times are going to be, but at least you can absorb the shock should something happen. Another one we talk about is maximizing returns. In these difficult times, leaving your money in a traditional savings account, getting less than 1%, you know, in these times, and no one, really wants to get out there sometimes and take chances and get in the stock market, at least put your money in a high yield account so that you can at least be making out in these difficult times. The other one is, intentional spending. Intentional spending means, you know, being really, really reassess and conscious of what you're spending on. We spend money on so much stuff and so much money get away that just being more mindful of what you're spending. And that comes down to, you know, what your values are. You just buying stuff or you buying stuff that, you really need, and just prepare for difficult times.
Yeah, the next one, we preach this, think long term. And his quote is, if you aren't willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. And
Wow.
what that says is, you don't buy something looking for a quick jump. You buy a company because you think it's solid, you think it's going to do well in the future, and it's something that you want to hold for a long time. Most of the stocks on my portfolio are long-term stocks. Microsoft, Google, Apple. I've had those stocks since we started this our show, and they have done me quite well because they're stocks that I think were good companies. I think are going to continue to be good companies. And again, if you go back to one of the earlier quotes, it was admit your mistakes. If I found that one of those was not a good stock, then I would get out of it. But when I buy a stock, I'm thinking long term. I'm not looking to make a quick buck. I'm not looking to time the market. I'm looking to buy a good stock and hold it for the long haul.
Um, yeah, I mean, we always talk about the long play, though. The next one is value investing. And this quote is, it's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. That's pretty interesting. And I know some people, you know, the statement, far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price, because a lot of people get caught up in really they don't do the research, and they're just looking at the price instead of looking at how is that company, the potential for that company doing. But when it comes to value investing, we as people, um, just the 401k plans though, I know people to this day are not doing the match, or they're not even because they're not putting anything in the 401k plan because times got tight, so they don't get the match, or they don't put in the maximum amount to do that, or they don't invest in, like I said, high yield savings, mutual funds, electronic traded funds, ETFs, or Roths, and you can't get ahead just saving. Saving is important. It's no question, but savings lead to building a wealth. But you just can't not and just let it sit there in your little treasure chest in your house or sitting in a traditional savings account, not making no money. And we encourage that here. And I know you hear us all the time. It's important that you value investing.
Next, we have invest like an owner. And his quote is, we view ourselves as business analysts, not as market analysts, microeconomic analysts, or even security analysts. And what I think he's saying by this is you make a decision like you would about a business. Is it a good business or not? And you ignore the noise and the things that you can't really control, like what's going on in the market, what's happening in Russia, what's happening in China, what's going on uh, with the government. You buy a company based on what you think it's going to do. Because one, you can control how you analyze a company. All that other stuff, you can't control. We always talk about you can't time the market. You don't know what's going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen next? But you can make a good decision when you make the decision to buy or not buy a particular company. Look at it like you would an owner. Would you buy that? Would you be the owner of that company? And would you invest in that company?
That's the good talk though. Good talking as usual. We've um, we've hit a lot on a lot of things. So let's go to the summary and takeaways though for today's show, which we gave some great little quotes from the famous Warren Buffett.
And we always say only take advice from people who got more than you got. Don't take
That's
advice from broke people.
oh man. So get advice from successful people. That's what the name of the game is. You know, why would you? I remember though, I'm telling you, man, I had an uncle, man, he'd be at the cookouts, all these get quick schemes, and this mother be broke. And he's trying to tell you things to do. So um, get advice from successful people. That's what this whole show is about. You know, that's why we quote Warren Buffett. And, you know, it doesn't have to be Warren Buffett, you know, just somebody who, you know, has proven. That's all.
Yeah. Cost can stunt your growth. If you're paying too much for what you're doing, then it can eat into your earnings. You don't want that to happen, whether it's buying, selling, whether it's fees, whether it's your financial advisor. Be cognizant of what you're paying to invest.
Yeah, look at those expense the ratios of those mutual funds, the ETFs. They can eat into the cost of the money that you could be making that you invest in. So that's a good one, though. The other one is one that I talked about earlier is seize the opportunities. You know, they come and go, but like always, we say, do your research, do your background check, but there's a lot of opportunities out there, you all, to really increase and maximize the return of your money. Don't be afraid to take a little step and take just a little bit more risk so that you can build a more cushion because we live in longer, like I said earlier. So it's very important that you do.
And Bob, to that point, I always talk about, I've told you about the one I missed was Hoka when my daughter told me to get some. And I realized what a good shoe it was, how comfortable it was. And she told me, oh, everybody at the gym is wearing Hokas. And I didn't seize the opportunity and buy that stock at that point. I think it was in the 200s. And within a year and a half, the stock was up to 800. So those are the kind of things when we talk about just common sense investing. If you see that opportunity, jump on it. Okay, next we have expect volatility. That's a given. Things are going to be volatile. Things are going to go up. Things are going to go down. Crazy stuff is going to happen. Uh, there's going to be wars. There's going to be inflation. You can't control that. Expect it. Don't react to it. Get your goals. Set your budget. Invest, and keep moving ahead.
And the last one, which me and Dope, we ride this horse down the valley and come up on the other side. Think long term. That's all that quick get rich quick stuff just does not work. Think long term. And, you know, if you stay in there long enough, the market, you know, always go ups and down, up and down. But when you plot it out, usually the peaks outweigh the valleys. So think long term. Don't try to make your men in 6 months or 2 weeks. It just doesn't work like that. You know, me and Doe, we talk about that all the time. Y'all know that's one of the main things we push. And if you have that patience, I'm telling you all, it will pay off. And we always discuss the long play. You know, so with that, Dope, Just want to do the roll call because we want to thank all these people that stay on and all the ones that y'all don't. I found out though there's so many people that I didn't know that was on here that are like don't like to put their name out there, and I want to thank you all for being on the show because I was shocked. Some of the people said, "No, Bob, I've been checking it out," and I even but plus if you miss the show, you can always if it's in 30 days, you can go out there and catch on YouTube, not YouTube. I'm sorry. It's always out
Facebook.
there. YouTube, you have, but on Facebook, they now hold it archived for 30 days. So if you miss this in a day or two, you can go out there and check it out. And a lot of people are busy doing things on Thursdays at 8 o'clock, and then they catch the show later. So we thank you on that. I want to thank my wonderful sister Linda for being on, my sister Gloria. I don't know where Nolia is. She's absent. We got to find Nolia. But Linda and Gloria, thank you as always for being on. Garnett, Modestine, so good to see you. Lexington, South Carolina. Joanne Skinner, always a winner. And the wonderful Now, pleased to see you now. You girl, you consistent with us. We really appreciate that. And Brian Donahue, am I pronouncing it right?
That's
now?
right.
My man Brian, thanks for being on and thanks for answering those questions too. We really, really, really appreciate that. So, like we say, we're here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Thank you, share, tell some people about us, you all. The more people that come out, the better to go on our show. And we're going to keep giving you information. Don't forget, put some comments in the comment box if there's anything that you like that we haven't discussed or something we discussed and you'd like for us to visit that. Feel free to go ahead and put that in the comment box because, like I said, if we can't get it on this show, we'll do it the next time. So with that, dope, the quote of the week. What's more important, positive thinking or negative thinking? Negative thinking, because it keeps you from thinking positive. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.
You got to think about that one.
I got you. I love when I get dope to think.
You got me on that one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we love you. We thank you. And spread the word. The FiTT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow.